Hare Krishna everyone. Thank you for joining today's Sunday Feast program. It's a bad weather, but still all of you would make it. Thanks so much. Start with Jai Radha Madhav. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajanarandana Yamuna Tira Hare So before we start the pranam mantras, I would like to thank Prabhu for giving me this opportunity to share my realizations, and I'll speak for my own purification. And please pray for me that whatever comes out of my mouth can uplift us all and raise our consciousness. And happy Ekadashi again to all of you. Om Jnanatimidandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Kamsajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padanam Saganamita Shri Vishakhamvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Shisha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I'd like to welcome everyone again to this Sunday Feast program. And before I begin, I'd like to thank my wife Shilpi for being my support and my daughter Anaga. So my wife is like my Shiksha Guru. She makes sure I practice what I preach. So thanks to her. She's not here, she's upstairs with the kids. And my daughter Anaga has taught me a lot of patience, tolerance, and above all, time management. So yeah. And I'd like to also thank, obviously, my family here, which is the family of devotees Srila Prabhupada gave us. So thank you so much. So we'll be reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18. It's the last chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Verse number 42. So you all can repeat after me. Samodamastapah shaucham Shantir arjavamevacha Jnanam vijnanam astikyam Brahma karma svabhavajam Samodamastapah shaucham Shantir arjavamevacha Jnanam vijnanam astikyam Brahma karma svabhavajam. Samodamastapah shaucham Shantirajavamevacha Jnanam vijnanam astikyam Brahma karma svabhavajam. Samodamastapah shaucham
Shantir arjavam evacha Jnanam vijnanam astikyam Brahma karma svabhavajam.
Samodamastapah shaucham Shantirajavamevacha Jnanam vijnanam astikyam Brahma karma svabhavajam. Mataji's. Samodamastapah shaucham Shantirajavamevacha Jnanam vijnanam astikyam Brahma karma svabhavajam. Samodamastapah shaucham Shantirajavamevacha Jnanam vijnanam astikyam Brahma karma svabhavajam. Thank you very much. Sama, peacefulness. Dama, self-control. Tapa, austerity. Shaucham, purity. Shanti, tolerance. Arjavam, honesty. Eva, certainly. Cha, and. Jnanam, knowledge. Vijnanam, wisdom. Astikyam, religiousness. Brahma, of a Brahmana. Karma, duty. Swabhavajam, born of his own nature. Translation: peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work. So this is a very nice verse. Talks about the qualities of Brahmana, Brahmanical qualities that we must all try to cultivate. It's a very merciful section of the Bhagavad Gita. And these few verses have no purports. So I'll try to share my realizations. So we often have this question, right? Prabhu, we are Vaishnavas. Why are we talking about Brahmanas? Famous verse, Naham Vipro Nachanarapatir, Napi Vaishyo na Shudro, Gopi Bhartur Padakamalayur Dasanudas, right? That I'm not a Brahmana, I'm not a Kshatriya, I'm not a Vaishya, I'm not a Shudra. I am the servant of the servant of the servant of the gopis. But we have to understand that we have to try and cultivate these Brahmanical qualities, very, very important. The Brahmanical qualities are our launch pad. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, in the 7th chapter, the 28th verse, that Yesham to antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajanti mam vidapata. Right? So who can perform bhakti with determination? Right? Sometimes we see that not able to perform bhakti with a lot of determination. The reason is because we are not very stable on the Brahmanical platform. And a Brahmana means these qualities, right? Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge of the scripture, etc. So when Prabhupada was also giving Brahman initiation, he wanted all his disciples to be fixed up in their spiritual practices, right? So, and also he wanted all his disciples to have enthusiasm for Shastra, right? So, knowledge, very important, right? Being fixed up is very important, right? So, in ISKCON it is said that purity is the force, books are the basis, right? So, purity, austerity, tolerance, these are very, very important qualities, right? Vaishnava is a very, very high platform, right? It's a very tall order. We must first try to become Brahmanas, right? We must try to cultivate the mode of goodness before we can try and jump over to the mode of pure goodness, right? We often hear that Prabhu हमें शुद्ध सत्व में रहना चाहिए. पहले हमें ये समझना है कि सत्व गुण क्या होता है, right? So obviously we don't have to get stuck in the sattva gun, right? Goodness, the mode of goodness is also binding, right? In the mode of goodness, one thinks that everything is very nice. You know, I know everything. I can be happy in this world, right? And the desire to get out of this world is not there, right? I wake up in the morning, I do my yoga, I eat a very sattvic diet. Both my kids are settled, one in America, one in Australia. My life is very happy. I don't have any problem. What is the need to get out from this material world? So that is the mode of goodness. The mode of goodness binds us with knowledge and happiness. Because in the mode of goodness, we are not performing any sin. So obviously there is a sense of happiness. Because if we perform sinful activity, we get the sinful reaction. But if we are not performing any sin, then our life is pretty much stable, happy, right? So that can be binding. But the desire to get out of this material world should be there. Srila Prabhupada said that this material world is like a bathroom. Finish your business and get out. Right? So, yeah, the desire to get out of this material world should be there, because ultimately, death takes away all our attachments. So what is the point? Right? We try to make our life comfortable, but death comes and takes us. Our friends, our families, our attachments. The Paramas Bhakti Viksha group did a nice skit. Right? You should all watch it on YouTube if you haven't watched it. The body, friends and family, fame, wealth, everything is gone. So what is the point? Right? So the mode of goodness. In the mode of goodness, one can be very, very peaceful, happy. So it is binding. But the mode of goodness is very important to cultivate, because it is like a launch pad. It's like a very smooth runway from which the plane can take off very nicely. A smooth runway. The mode of passion and ignorance is like a very rocky runway from which the plane cannot take off. So we should try to cultivate these Brahmanical qualities. And one may ask that Arjuna was a Kshatriya, he was not a Brahmana. So what about that? So obviously Arjuna had the nature of a Kshatriya, but he was being guided by Krishna, right? So Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So we might have a Kshatriya nature, but we must always take guidance from Brahmanas or Brahmanical devotees, right? So, as Prabhupada, in his lectures and in his purports, in his talks, he says that first we must cultivate the mode of goodness before trying to cultivate the mode of pure goodness. Right? Vaishnava means pure goodness, but Vaishnava is very, very tall order. It's very difficult to become Vaishnava. Right? As Prabhupada says, that Krishna consciousness movement is to bring some men on the platform of goodness. Right? Passion and ignorance will induce you. Kama, lust and greediness. That is the sign of passion and ignorance. And when you are in goodness, then you can see things as they are. Right? In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in chapter number 14, 17th verse, Sattvat sanjayate jnanam. Right? From the mode of goodness develops knowledge. So when we are in the mode of goodness, we can see things as they are. Things become clear. Clarity comes from the mode of goodness. Right? No meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication. These are Brahmanical. Unless one is free from these sinful activities, how can he become a Brahmana? Brahmana means Shuchi. Shuchi means pure. Right? That's why we say purity is the force. Right? Modern civilization is considered to be advanced in the standard of the mode of passion. Formerly, the advanced condition was considered to be in the mode of goodness. Right? So, the mode of goodness, this is the importance of the mode of goodness. It's very, very important to understand what these qualities are and how we can cultivate them. So, Srila Prabhupada is saying that our Krishna consciousness movement is to bring some men on the platform of goodness, right? We don't expect everybody to become a Brahmana, right? Otherwise the society will be quite lopsided. Once someone asked Srila Prabhupada, that Swamiji, what if everybody becomes a brahmachari? What if everybody becomes a brahmachari or sannyasi? Srila Prabhupada said, what do you do for a living? And that person said, I'm an accountant. Srila Prabhupada said that, what if everybody becomes an accountant? So that's not possible, right? We see not everybody wants to join the army, right? So the society would be quite lopsided if everybody is a Brahmana, right? So it's like a pyramid structure. For every one Brahmana, there is 10 Kshatriyas, there is 100 Vaishyas, and there is 1,000 Shudras, right? So a Brahmana is on the top of the pyramid. So we must take guidance with from Brahmanas, right? So Brahmanas are like the head of the society, right? So these are the qualities of a Brahmana: peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty. Brahma karma swabhavajam, right? These are the qualities of a Brahmana. So how does one get a Brahmanical nature, right? Swabhav. How does one get a swabhav of a Brahmana? So we'll do a little bit of a recap of chapter 14. Chapter 14 talks about the modes of nature, right? So in this material world, we have to understand that these three gunas are driving the show. Goodness, passion and ignorance, right? Prakriti kriyamarani, gunai karmani sarvasha, right? So all our activities are influenced by these three modes, right? Just like a driver uses his free will and gets drunk, right? So he drives under the influence, DUI. So similarly, when we come to this material world, we start working under the influence of these three modes, right? Goodness, passion and ignorance. So we are all under the influence of the three modes, right? Right? So sometimes we are wise, sometimes we are otherwise, right? So what happens is we associate with people in a particular mode. If somebody is in a mode of passion, we associate with such a person and we acquire those qualities, because association is not just physical proximity. Association is transfer of desires, right? It can be good desire or it can be bad desire. So if I have bad company, I will obviously get those qualities, right? We are the average of 5 people we associate with, right? So it is also said that, show me your friends and I will tell you the kind of person you are, right? Or tell me the jokes you laugh at and I will tell you the kind of person you are. So their qualities rub off on us, right? So if somebody is very enthusiastic, we also become enthusiastic. So it's one of the most common questions asked to Srila Prabhupada, that how do we acquire taste in chanting? Right? Srila Prabhupada said, associate with someone who has taste in chanting. Right? So association is very important. So when we associate with certain people, we get that mode. And when we get that mode, under the influence of that mode, we do a certain activity. And that activity creates impressions in our mind, in our chitta, in our subtle body. And based on those impressions, we again do those activities. Activity can be good or bad. Right? So this cycle keeps continuing. And this is stored again in the mind. So we get a particular body based on that. Right? So In the past, I may have associated with people in the mode of passion, and I may have acquired a quality like that. I may have associated with people in the mode of goodness, and I may have acquired good qualities. So this goes on and on, right? So by the will of providence or by circumstantial arrangement, this cycling between the gunas keeps going on and on, right? So association is very important here, right? Even the parents to their kids, they say that, beta, please, achhe dost banana, stay in good company, right? And a lot of you have your kids in Sunday school, right? So what is the purpose behind that? We want to give our kids Brahminical qualities, right? We want them to associate with other like-minded and right-minded kids. We want them to give the knowledge of Shastra. So association is very important, right? So this is how we acquire a particular nature, a particular swabhav. Someone is Brahminical in nature. He likes to read Shastra. He likes to read scriptures and discuss Shastra. Somebody is Kshatriya natured. He likes to lead, manage, organize festivals and stuff like that, right? Someone is Vaishya in nature, and someone is Shudra in nature. So these four classes of people, they're there in every society. Every civilized society has these four varnas, right? Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. And this is important for the society to work effectively. Krishna made this classification, right? Based on guna, based on the mode. If I'm Brahminical, then I'm Brahmana. If I'm Kshatriya nature, then I'm a Kshatriya, right? And based on our karma. So obviously, based on the activities that I've done in the past, I get that nature, right? Because when I do an activity, it creates an impression in my mind, it gets stored in my subtle body, and that subtle body gives me my next gross body and subtle body, right? So this natural classification is there in every society. On the top of the pyramid is the Brahmanas, then the Kshatriyas, then Vaishyas, and then Shudras. So it's like a TATA, Tata, right? So there's teachers, administrators, traders, and artisans, right? TATA. So obviously the system was distorted with time, right? The Brahmanas started considering themselves superior to every other class, and they started exploiting the Shudras and the Vaishyas. So this gave rise to other religions like Buddhism and Jainism, right? So, but this division is based on guna and karma. It is not based on janma and karma. Brahmanas who were born in Brahminical families started exploiting other classes. So obviously with time everything deteriorates. So the Brahmanas are basically meant to give direction to the society, right? They are like the head. In the body we have the head. If I have to go and pick a plate of prasadam, the head is going to tell the legs how many steps it has to walk. And once I'm at the prasadam counter, the head is going to tell the hands to lift. It is going to tell the hands to pick up the plate of prasadam. So the head gives direction to the body. Similarly, Brahmanas give direction to the society, right? Kshatriyas have to make sure that the Brahmanas are properly engaged in their duties. The Vaishyas are properly engaged in their duties, and the Shudras are properly serving the other Varnas. Right? The duty of the Vaishyas is farming, cow protection, trading. And the Shudras, obviously, they serve the other Varnas. Right? So, in the olden times, the Guru used to identify the nature of the child. Right? So, if he sees that the child is very inclined in reading Shastra and he wants to deep dive, the Guru identifies that yes, this child is Brahmana natured. So he should be nurtured like that. If someone likes to lead and manage and organize, then he's Kshatriya natured. So it was the duty of the parents and the Guru to identify the nature of the child. So it was a very, very nicely organized system of these four Varnas. And the Hindu Dharma was not called Hindu Dharma, it was called Varnashram Dharma. Because the ultimate goal of Varnashram is to attain mukti, is to attain freedom from the cycle of birth and death. Right? So, in the Vedic times, it was the duty of the Guru to identify the nature. And based on the nature, we can further nurture. So if I have Brahminical qualities, my parents and my Guru can further nurture those qualities. But in today's world, this is not quite the case. In India especially, And also with me, our parents mostly force us to become a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer. They want us to get a high-paying job. Right? So there was this case of this couple. They were fighting and they went to court. And the judge asked, "What is the problem?" And the husband said, "My wife wants my kid to become a doctor." And the wife said, "I want my kid to become a lawyer." And the judge asked, "So what is the problem? Why can't you ask the kid?" And the father said, "That's the problem. The kid is not born yet." Right? So that's the problem. So it is very, very important to identify the nature of a child, right? So today we are going to discuss on Brahmanical qualities, right? Brahmanas. Again, these are the qualities: peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. So the first quality is sama, right? Sama, dama, tapa, shaucham, shantir, arjam, evacha. Sama. Sama is controlling the mind. So we should not think that, okay, I don't have a Brahmanical nature, so what is the use of cultivating these qualities? These qualities are very, very important to cultivate if we want to be fixed up in our devotional service, right? If we want to become fixed up in our practice of bhakti, we have to develop these qualities. And if we don't have these qualities, then we must associate with Brahmanas or Brahmanical minded devotees. And the more we keep getting their association, these qualities we will get, their qualities will start rubbing off on us. Right? So sama, controlling the mind, right? We all know that an idle mind is a devil's workshop, right? Khali dimag, shaitan ka ghar, right? So we know that a controlled mind is the best friend, and uncontrolled mind is the worst enemy. So how do we control, right? The Bhagavad Gita gives us a very nice insight, right? It says that indriyani parani ahur indriyebhya paramana manasastu parabuddhir yo buddhir paratastu sa. So it says that there's the senses. On top of the senses is the mind. On top of the mind is the intelligence. Yes. So when the intelligence is sharp, it can control the mind. Right? And how do we cultivate a sharp intelligence? How can we sharpen our intelligence? By reading Shastras, yes. Study, right? Study makes us steady and sturdy, right? So studying Shastras is very, very important. Srila Prabhupada wrote so many books for us, translated so many books for us, right? In ISKCON, books are the basis, right? If you go to other temples, you won't see so many books. Here, books is the focus. We have a nice book table, and Gopal Govind Prabhu is always pushing people to, take books. So it is very, very important to develop a taste in reading and studying the Shastra. Reading is not the right word. We read in newspapers, but we study Shastra. We deep dive, right? We question. So Shastra makes our intelligence strong. When the intelligence is strong, it can control the mind. And obviously our devotional service, practice of Bhakti Yoga gives us so many options to engage the mind, right? So the mind does not have any possibility of remaining free, right? There's so many services in the center, right? Cooking, singing, organizing festivals, so on and so forth. So this is how you can control the mind, right? Because an uncontrolled mind is the worst enemy. We see so many crimes happening, right? Murders and whatnot. Why? What is the reason? Uncontrolled mind, right? Because the intelligence is not sharp. The intelligence is not purified. The intelligence is taking a back seat, right? The mind is like a child, and the intelligence is like the mother. The child cannot sit quiet for even a minute, but if it gets the right engagement, then it is stable, right? So we have to give the mind right engagement, and we have to study. Dhamma is the second quality of a Brahmana, right? Dhamma means controlling the senses. So controlling the senses is easier compared to controlling the mind, right? Again, the same verse, Indriyani parani ahur Indriyabhya param mana. So on the lowest rung is the senses. On top of the senses is the mind. So Dhamma is controlling the senses. Right? It's easier to control the senses than controlling the mind. Right? In Google, the management was finding that the employees were getting obese. They wanted them to control their diet somehow. So what they did is they started covering the chocolates. They started putting an aluminum foil on top of the chocolates. And they found that in the next month, the sale of the chocolates went down by 30%. Right? So out of sight is out of mind. Yes. So it is easier to control the senses, right? Where our eyes go for the first time may not be in our control. You may see a very attractive sense object. But where they go for the second time is in our control, right? Today's society glamorizes illicit activities, illicit sex and whatnot, right? So we may see a very attractive billboard we are driving, right? So we have the option to not look at it again, right? We may be presented with so many choices. So we have the choice to not look at it again. So it's easy to control the senses, right? Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita gives a very nice analogy of a tortoise, right? The tortoise only uses its limbs when it has to use it, right? Otherwise the limbs are always inside. So we must use our limbs, we must use our senses only for spiritual advancement, not for material entanglement, right? For example, Hanuman, in the service of Lord Ram, he burned the entire city of Lanka, but otherwise he was always meek and humble. When he had to go and find Mother Sita, he was not sure of how Mother Sita looks like. So he was going to so many rooms in the palace and he was seeing all beautiful women lying half naked and drunk. So he was so much focused. So we must be like that. We must use our senses only for spiritual advancement, not for material entanglement. Right? When we are in the mode of goodness, we understand, right, what is binding, what is liberating, what is to be done, what is not to be done, because the mode of goodness gives us clarity. Sattvat sanjayate jnanam. Bhagavad Gita 14:17. So, Dhamma, this is a Brahmanical quality we must try to cultivate. Right? Controlling the senses. The next quality is tapa. Right? It's tapa, austerity. Right? It's a voluntary inconvenience. Right? Waking up early, finishing our rounds first thing in the morning. We don't feel like doing it, but it is tapasya. Right? It's the goal of human life is to undergo austerity and purify our existence. Right? And tapasya helps us cultivate sama and dhamma. If we do tapasya, we can actually practice controlling the senses and the mind. Right? So we have to accept some inconveniences for spiritual gain, even for material gain, right? We see athletes, Olympians, they undergo so much austerity, right? If you have to achieve something, you have to give up something. So Srila Prabhupada gave us some basic tapasya, right? Following the 4 regulative principles: no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, fasting on special days, fasting on Ekadashi. Today is Ekadashi. So, and the more you keep doing it, you don't feel it like it's an austerity, right? It becomes business as usual. Because Krishna from within, he gives us strength. Tesham satyaektanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam. I give them the strength, I give them the intelligence by which they can continue in their spiritual path. So tapasya is a Brahmanical quality. So one may say, कि प्रभु ये क्या austerity लगा के रखा है? Why can I not enjoy? So we have to understand that the way this material world is designed, the more austerity we do, the better facilities we will get in our next life. Just like a government employee, right? A government employee gets a nice car. In India we have this ambassador car, ऊपर में लाल बत्ती होती है. He gets a chauffeur, gets servants, he gets a nice bungalow. And even if there is a curfew, he can still go. So he gets all these facilities, right? His Grace Patri Prabhuji calls it Sarkar ka gadi, right? Sarkar ka gadi. So the more austerity we do, the better facility we will get. Obviously, our goal is not to get better facilities, to enjoy, right? And we see this in the case of Narad Muni, right? Narad Muni can travel to any part of the universe anytime. So he's completely free. So we all want freedom, but right now we are engaged in this material body, right? It's like running in a sack race. How many of you know what is a sack race? Sack race. So when we are in a sack, we can only run so fast, right? So currently we are in this material body. It's like a sack. It is limiting our everything. It is limiting our enjoyment. It is limiting our freedom. But when we give up this body, we are actually free, right? So tapasya, right? We have to take up some voluntary inconvenience for spiritual advancement. Shaucham, that's the next quality, Brahmanical quality. Cleanliness, right? Even as children we heard, cleanliness is next to godliness. Yes. So we must be clean externally, right? Clean internally, both. Externally means wearing clean clothes, taking bath, clean shaven, clean nails, right? Having a clean surrounding, not living in a messy room, right? It's all common sense. In the hostel, they had this competition. मैं एक हफ्ते से नहीं नहाया हूँ. तो there was this other guy who used to say, एक हफ्ता, मैं एक महीने से नहीं नहाया हूँ. So that is very tamasic, very ignorant lifestyle. Right? So when we come to bhakti, we must try to be clean externally and internally by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Right? So it is said that Shuchi hoye, Muchi hoye, Yadi Krishna Tyaje. Muchi hoye, Shuchi hoye, Yadi Krishna Bhaje. So even a low class person can become high class if he starts worshipping Krishna. And a high class person can become low class if he does not worship Krishna. Right? So Shuchi. Must try to be Shuchi. Clean internally and externally. Right? So external cleanliness is Tan. And internal cleanliness is Man and Buddhi. So Tan शुद्ध होता है स्नान से. मन शुद्ध होता है हरि के नाम से. और बुद्धि शुद्ध होती है दिव्य ज्ञान से. Right? So tan or man or buddhi must be clean. So when Srila Prabhupada was asked, that Srila Prabhupada, is there any scope for us? Srila Prabhupada said, you must become 100% pure. All the devotees were looking very sad and dejected. Srila Prabhupada said, okay, 90%. Try to be 90% pure. Still the same response. They were looking very sad. One of the brahmacharis, he said that Srila Prabhupada, we have been involved in so many illicit activities, we've committed so much sin, our mind is so dirty. How can we be 90% pure? Srila Prabhupada said 80%. Again the same dejected and sad faces. Srila Prabhupada said, okay, 70%, that's it, bas. So this is the Guru's mercy. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, Ananyas chintayanto mam. Ye jana paryupasate. Tesham nitya abhyuktanam yogakshema vahamyam. So, I preserve what they have and I provide what they lack. So, Guru provides us what we lack, 70%. So, at least 7 out of 10 times we should try and control our mind and senses. Try to be pure. And we understand that we are all under the shower, right? We are getting cleansed. Right? So, we must try as much as we can. So the next quality is Shanti, peaceful. Brahmana is always peaceful. Right? How is he peaceful? Because the Brahmana is trying to control his mind and senses. Right? So, and the Brahmana is also engaging in tapasya, right? Following the 4 regulative principles, for example, right? No meat eating, no intoxication, for example. We are doing ourselves so much favor, right? From a health standpoint, from a financial standpoint, right? We're not wasting money on buying liquor, and we, even from a health standpoint, we're so much healthy. So, the fruit of controlling the mind and the senses is that they become peaceful, and we also become peaceful by tolerating, right? So, what is the meaning of tolerating? Keeping small things small, so we can focus on the big thing, right? Saho or raho, right? Conflict is inevitable, but combat is optional. So, Brahmana learns how to tolerate. Lord Shiva, we see this from the pastime of Lord Shiva and Daksha Prajapati, the Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati, they were invited to this yajna, where all the great sages from all across the universe were invited. And Bhari Sabha mein, sabke samne Daksha Prajapati was speaking all harsh words to Lord Shiva. You're walking naked, you have snakes around your neck, you're wearing a mala of skulls, ash smeared all over your body. So what did Lord Shiva do? What was Lord Shiva's response? He was quiet, chup, maunam sarvartha sadhanam, right? So speech is silver, but silence is golden. Because the Brahmana does not identify with the body, the Brahmana learns how to tolerate. Yeah. Because he understands that everything is temporary, praise is temporary. So sukh mein uchalna nahi aur dukh mein fisalna nahi. Right? In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Vitaraga bhayakrodha sthita dhir mani ruchyate, right? Vitaraga bhayakrodha. Vita means free from what? Rag. Rag means attachment. Bhay, fear, and krodh, anger. So हमारा क्या है? मिल जाए तो खोने का डर, और ना मिले तो anger, right? So we should try and be peaceful, tolerate, right? Because everything in this world is temporary. Praise is temporary. Our relationships are temporary. Today somebody is going to praise you. Tomorrow they may stop talking to you, or they may do something that you don't like, right? So you must tolerate. The point is to keep small things small, so we can focus on the big thing, right? His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu says that the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing, and the main thing is to serve Srila Prabhupada's mission, right? Shanti, it's a Brahminical quality. Arjavam, honesty, right? Even as children we were told that honesty is the best policy, right? Beta, jhoot mat bolna, right? Honesty. So there was this guru who asked all his students to go and eat this mango. जाओ ये mango खा के आओ जहाँ पे कोई तुम्हें देख ना रहा हो. Go and eat this mango where no one is watching you. So one of the students, he dived into the river and he ate the mango. One of the students climbed on top of a tree and he ate the mango. One of the students ran across the mountain where no one was watching him and he ate the mango. And there was this one student who didn't return all night. And the guru was tense, he was worried. The next morning the student returned. And the guru asked the student, what happened beta, why did you take so long? And the student said, Guruji, I could not find any place where I could eat this mango where no one is watching me. Because the Lord is seated as Paramatma in my heart and is watching all my activities. Right? So Paramatma is always seated in our hearts. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hrideshe arjuna tishtati. So he's seated in our hearts. So we have these 4 defects. We are all conditioned by the modes. So we have these 4 defects. What are the 4 defects? Anyone? Commit mistakes. Imperfect senses. Cheating propensity. Illusion. Very nice. Thank you. Yes, so we all have this cheating propensity, right? So, as much as possible, we should try to be honest with ourselves. Am I trying to control my mind and senses? Am I trying to be pure? Am I trying to be austere? And so on and so forth, right? So yes, honesty is the best policy. So, you see this CCTV camera, right? So, what is the difference between the CCTV camera and the CCTV camera that's in our hearts? Anyone? Yes, Madhuri.
Camera can go off any time. Due to technical issues.
Correct.
Paramatma, which is seated in our hearts, cannot go off.
Correct, yes.
Shiva Daksha Vishnu.
Yes. Very nice, thank you, Babaji. So yes, the CCTV camera of this world is...
Also, the CCTV camera doesn't prompt you if it is good or bad. Paramatma gives you some hints.
Direction, yes. Thank you so much, yes. It's a very nice point. Yes, the CCTV camera of this world, you can cut the cable. But this CCTV camera, you cannot cut the cable. Right? And as Prabhuji mentioned, Paramatma always gives us direction and intelligence from within. Right? That don't do this. And this is not good for you. We have that feeling of guilt from inside. Right? That is the voice of Paramatma. Right? So Arjavam, this is a Brahmanical quality. Right? We should try and develop this. Jnanam. Right? Jnanam. Cultivating knowledge, right? So, the definition of Brahmana is Brahma Janati iti Brahman, right? A Brahman has this inquisitiveness from inside that who am I? Who is God? What is my relationship with God? Why am I suffering in this material world? These very, very important questions, a Brahmana, he has this inquisitiveness in his heart. When Sri Sanatana Goswami, he met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for the first time, he told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that, Mahaprabhu, everyone is calling me a scholar. I know so many languages, I wrote so many books, I know Persian, I know Sanskrit. But I am fool number one. Because I don't know who I am. मैं कौन हूँ? और मैं क्यों हूँ? Why am I in this material world? What is my purpose? So this is very important, right? For material knowledge, we read so many big books, right? Those of us who are into IT, you know, this C, C++, Java, मर Java, right? समुंदर जितना सिलेबस है, बाल्टी भर लिख पाते हैं, गिलास भर नहीं, समुंदर जितना सिलेबस है, बाल्टी भर समझ आता है, गिलास भर लिख पाते हैं, और चुल्लू भर नंबर आते हैं, उसी में डूब के मर जाते हैं, राइट? सो पापी पेट के लिए इतना पढ़ाई की, तो इसके लिए भी पढ़ना चाहिए, राइट? You must study for the soul, right? When Srila Prabhupada was in MIT, he asked the students there that why there is no department to study the science of the soul. The soul is the most important part of the body. When the soul is not there in the body, there is no life. But when the soul is there, the body is doing all sorts of things. The soul is there, the body is eating, singing, dancing. So why there is no department to study the science of the soul? Right? So we must understand that it is very important to ask ourselves these questions. Who am I? What is my purpose? So, the two most important days in our life, right? What are the two important days in our life? Most important days? The day I was born and death. And the day I realized why I was born. Right? So yeah, so we must question. This is Jnanam. It's a Brahmanical quality. Right? So we must all try to read Srila Prabhupada's books. All the answers are there in Srila Prabhupada's books. Vijnanam. So we read and we try to apply this, right? Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, time and again he says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. Iti matva bhajante mam. Knowing this, knowing what? That I am the source of everything and everything emanates from me. Iti matva, what does he do? Bhajante mam. He engages in devotional service. So we must try to wake up early, finish our japa, take up some austerity. We must engage in practical devotional service. Then Gyan becomes Vigyan, right? Astikyam. So there is Astik and there is Nastik. So Brahmana has very, very strong faith. So The more obviously we associate with devotees and the more we read Srila Prabhupada's books, our faith strengthens. Right? ISKCON of Bergen County is giving us this very nice opportunity to do sadhu sangha. Right? And faith only increases in the association of devotees. It is very important to understand that. The other word for association is peer pressure. Right? We always use this word peer pressure, and kids have this peer pressure. So it can be peer pressure for good things and it can be peer pressure for bad things. So obviously peer pressure for good things is good because it takes us to Krishna. Right? So faith in scripture. Scripture means Shastra. What is the meaning of Shastra? Shastra means something that regulates our action, something that controls us. To control animals, we have Shastra. But to control humans, we have Shastra. Yes, scripture. Scripture is the word of God. Just like we have to use a washing machine, we have to use a manual. Right? So if we have to live this life, we have to use a manual. Right? And Bhagavad Gita is the manual of life. Right? So there is astikyam. So there is astik and there is nastik. So obviously we see a lot of people who don't have faith. And obviously at some point in our life, we also did not have so much faith. So we can help them, obviously. So nastik, we see that people often ask that, "Kahan hai Bhagwan? Dikhao tumhane? Koi Facebook profile hai unki? Is he there on Instagram?" Right? So we cannot see God with these eyes because obviously our eyes are not purified. There is a process of purifying these material eyes using bhakti. But we can see God through His wonderful creation. Right? Every day the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Have you ever heard the sun rising in the west and setting in the east? No. The laws of nature operate so beautifully. Right? Each season produces symptoms unique to that season. Right? So how is nature operating in such a automatic fashion? A child will think that the traffic signal is working automatically. Right? The lights change होती हैं, green से yellow, yellow से red, red से वापस green. मम्मी, तो automatic है. Mummy will say, "Beta, this is not automatic." Somebody has programmed it. So it looks like it is automatic. So behind the program is a programmer. Yes. So behind the creation is the creator. We cannot see the God. We cannot see the creator with these eyes, but we can see His wonderful creation. Right? Everything is arranged so perfectly. All the planets in the space, they are not colliding with each other. Right? Electrons and protons, even in a small atom, they are orbiting the nucleus in such a perfect manner. Right? So there is perfection in this universe. There is order. There is harmony in this universe. Albert Einstein said that the only incomprehensible thing about this universe is that it is comprehensible. Every physical phenomenon can be expressed beautifully using mathematical equations. So there is order. There is harmony. This shows us that there is a hand of God. So this is astikyam, this is faith. That भगवान दिखते नहीं है, लेकिन भगवान का क्रिएशन इतना सुंदर है, इतना परफेक्ट है. So I just end with this small story. It's a very famous story. It's a story of a Brahmana and a cobbler. Right? So once there was a Brahmana, and Narad Muni, he's the transcendental spaceman. Right? He can travel anywhere, to any place, anytime. So he visited this Brahmana, and the Brahmana was very happy. All glories to you, Narad Muni. Tell me how you are doing, and what is the Lord doing? Did you get to meet Him? And can you do me one favor? When you see the Lord, please ask Him, when will I see Him? When will I get His darshan? When will I come back to Him? The Brahmana was very nicely doing his duties, his rituals. Narad Muni said, "Okay, I will ask the Lord." And then the Narad Muni went to a cobbler. A few meters away, he was a mochi, who basically uses dead skin of animals to make shoes. So he went to the cobbler and And the cobbler was very happy. And the cobbler said, my dear Narad Muni, I'm so fortunate that I got your darshan today. Please tell me, what was the Lord? How is the Lord? And when you get to meet him, please ask him, when will I come back to him? Narad Muni said, yes, I will do that. So Narad Muni went to the Lord and he told him what had happened. So the Lord told Narad Muni that you must go and tell the Brahman that he will come back to me after 100 lifetimes. And Narad Muni was surprised. Brahman? तो सब कुछ इतने अच्छे से कर रहा है, आरती कर रहा है, पूजा कर रहा है. He wakes up early. He said, okay, what about the cobbler? The Lord said the cobbler will come back to me this very lifetime. And Narad Muni was surprised. The Lord said to Narad Muni, don't be surprised. When you meet them, just ask them, just tell them when they ask, what was the Lord doing when you saw him? Just tell them that the Lord was threading an elephant through the eye of a needle. जो सुई होती है, सुई में से एक हाथी को पास कर रहे थे. He was passing an elephant through the eye of a needle. Narad Muni said, okay, I'll do that. So when Narad Muni met the Brahman asked Narad Muni, what was the Lord doing? Narad Muni said, the Lord was threading an elephant through the eye of a needle. The Brahman said, Narad Muni, you got to be kidding me. How is that possible? That's not possible. Did you even meet the Lord? Narad Muni said, yes, I did, but that's fine. I'll move on. So he went to the cobbler. The cobbler was again very happy to see Narad Muni, and he asked Narad Muni, what was the Lord doing? Narad Muni said, the Lord was threading an elephant through the eye of a needle. And the cobbler had tears in his eyes. And he exclaimed, how wonderful is that? How wonderful is that? And Narad Muni said, you really believe that? The Lord can thread an elephant through the eye of a needle? And the cobbler said, why not? I'm sitting under this huge banyan tree. This banyan tree has so many fruits. Inside each fruit there are so many seeds. Inside each seed, if in each seed the Lord can place a huge banyan tree, why can the Lord not thread an elephant through the eye of a needle? If the Lord can place an entire banyan tree in a small seed, why can he not thread an elephant through the eye of a needle? So this is faith. This is not blind faith. This faith is backed by reason. Right? When we go to the doctor, we don't question the doctor. That doctor, ये वाली medicine क्यों दी आपने? दिखाओ मुझे, क्या ingredients हैं इसके? Do we question the doctor? We don't. When we board a flight, do we question the authenticity of the flight? Of the airline, of the pilot? We don't. We put some implicit faith in the airline, right? So similarly, we have to put some implicit faith in the Bhagavad Gita, in the word of God. Right? This faith is not blind faith. This faith is backed by a reason. If the Lord can place an entire banyan tree within a small seed, why can he not pass an elephant through the eye of a needle? The Lord can do anything. Such huge planets floating effortlessly in space. Can it happen by chance? In the Sanskrit language, there is no word called chance. There is a reason behind everything. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina. Right? By my energies, these planets are floating afloat in space. Gam avishya bhutani. I enter into the planet and keep them afloat. Right? So Krishna is giving this knowledge in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna's energies are impersonal, but he is still a person. Right? So we often hear people doing wonderful things, right? But despite their energetic accomplishments, right, we still know that they are persons, right? So Krishna's energies are impersonal, but Krishna is still a person, right? So this is knowledge that we get from the Bhagavad Gita. So to summarize, right, a Brahmana is born with these qualities. Right? What was the last quality we discussed? Astikya, faith. A Brahmana is born with these qualities, right? What are the qualities? Anyone? We discussed today. Purity, peacefulness, austerity, yes. Honesty, tolerance, cleanliness, yes. Thank you so much, yes. So a Brahmana is born with these qualities, but what about most of us, right? Most of us, we are not born with these qualities. Can we cultivate these qualities? How? By practice and association. Yes, association, right? If we do sadhu sangha, right, our destination is Golok Dham. If we do Sam Sangha, our destination is Korea Dham. Right? So it is very, very important to do sadhu sangha. Again, we've got this very nice association of devotees. Right? ISKCON of Bergen County is giving us a very nice platform of doing Shravan and Kirtan. Right? In the Bhagavad Gita it is said, Shranutam Swakadham Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. Right? So when one engages in this process of Shravan, in this process of hearing and chanting, what happens? Hridhi antasthohi abhadrani. All the inauspiciousness, all the dirt gets washed away. Vidhunoti suhritsatam, by the mercy of the Lord. Right? Just like a pot of muddy water, right? A pot is full of muddy water, but if you start pouring clean and fresh water, eventually the pot is going to get filled with clean water. So the more we hear, the more we engage in Shravan and Kirtan, our mind is going to get filled with the water of Krishna Prem. Right? So we have to continue doing Shravan and Kirtan. The more we hear, the more we read, the more our faith is going to become strong. And the more our faith becomes strong, the steadier we will become. It is all a question of our faith, where we put our faith. Right? And thanks to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we got this fast track process. Right? You don't have to do typical Brahminical duties like engaging in rituals and whatnot. Right? In the Bhagavatam it is mentioned, Yasyasti Bhakti Bhagavati Akinchana Sarvai Gunais Tatra Samasate Sura. In a Vaishnava, all good qualities of Brahmana progressively manifest. Right? So the more we engage in bhakti, we will see that these Brahminical qualities we will start getting. Right? Tolerance, purity, austerity, honesty. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us this fast track process. So I request everyone to take up this Brahminical lifestyle, do some austerities, chant. Right? This will take us closer to our ultimate goal of life, which is freedom from this cycle of birth and death and achieving Krishna Prem. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Virantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Thank you again, Ram Tulsi Prabhu, Ramchandra Prabhu, for giving me this opportunity. Thank
you, Rohan, for a wonderful class. Any question we can take? One or two questions probably. Time is over with. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Wonderful class. Quick question. You said passion engages you with the material world. But up till now, I have always heard passion is something you could do anything, including bhakti. So,
correct.
Why?
Yeah, the mode of passion, Prabhu, is important because passion means creation. Right? Any activity you want to do, creation requires passion. But when that passion is used in the service of the Lord, it becomes transcendental. But when our actions are influenced by the material mode of passion, that gives rise to intense greed, hankering. There is a very nice words in the Bhagavad Gita. Sattvat sanjayate jnanam rajaso lobh evacha. So rajogun se lobh ki utpatti hoti hai. Lobh, greediness for material things. We see that Lord Hanuman, he burned the entire city of Lanka.